son joined the Air Force many years ago, whenever I guess he was maybe 19 years old, I think. Went through his basic training and then went to his first assignment, which was in Florida. We went to Florida to see him, and he introduced us to the people that he worked with on that assignment. And my son told me something that his supervisor told him. He said, Jeremy, he said, I want you to know something. He said, now, you will not understand this right now. He said, but later in your career, you'll look back and realize I'm telling you the truth. He said, but you will never, ever have an assignment better than the one you have now. You will never, ever work with a group of people better than the group of people that you are working with right now. And he told him, he said, for himself, he said, all these years I've been on, he said, this is the best assignment and the best group that I've ever worked with. He said, so you are starting with the very best. Well, I talked to my son the other day. He recently retired from the Air Force, and I asked him about that, and he said, you know, Dad, he was right. He said that was like the ideal assignment and the very best group of people because they worked together, cared for each other, and he said the man was telling me the truth. It was a great assignment. Well, my name is Richard Coleman. I'm the pastor at Shepherd Church of the Nazarene in Lexington, South Carolina, and it's great to spend just a few moments with you today. The Apostle Paul is writing a letter to the church in Philippi. He's trying to encourage them and let them know how important it is to live a Christian life. And one of the things that he said in this letter was how important it was, number one, that the church people would be willing to agree with one another. Now, when he says that, we could look at that and say, well, you know, we're not going to always agree with everything. And I don't believe that was the point that he was making. The point being that we can voice our opinion, that we can kind of state our cause, but whenever it comes to a vote or whoever's in charge, however the decision is made, that we are willing to go along with that. It might mean that we have to be willing to agree to disagree, but we're not going to go around talking bad and going saying, oh, well, I don't think this is right and this is the way it shouldn't have been. It's that we're willing to agree to disagree, or we're willing to say, well, it's not the way exactly I would have done it, but I can see where someone else might like that, and so I'm willing to go with it. There's ways that we can do that as Christians that does not cause discord, and it's important that we remember that. And that was one of the things that Paul was telling the church. He also told them that they need to love each other. You know, in the day which we live, we talk about love. We can love a chocolate milkshake. We can love a Reese's candy bar. We can love a particular design on all kinds of things when we talk about love. But what Paul is talking about is that we have a heartfelt concern for each other, that the other person's well-being is equally important to mine. In other words, their feelings are equally important to mine. Their reputation is equally important to mine. And if I do anything to undermine those things, then I am not showing my love for them. Paul said it's important as a group of Christians that we learn how to agree with each other and to love each other. And then the third and last thing that he mentioned in just these short verses, he said how important it is for us to work together. You know, on a work project, and I've been on many work projects before, if people work against each other, if you have a group of people there and everybody wants to be in charge, or you need one board cut and you have 3 saws available, that just one person picks a saw up. And in other words, that we work together and we say, let's do this as a team and let's make this work better. I remember my dad years ago, whenever we would do a work project together, he would always say, son, we need to determine up front who is in charge. And that would be the person that would make the decisions, and then the other one would follow their lead. And he and I had a great relationship, and we were able to do that with each work project. And if it was his and he's something he knew about, he'd say, son, let me be in charge. You follow my instructions. Other times he'd say, son, this is your project. You're in charge. You just tell me what I need to do. Paul was looking at the people and he said, it's important that you learn how to agree with each other, that you love each other, and that you're willing to work together in Christian community. Well, I don't know how that might fit into your life, and I don't know what all is going on in your life, but I think Paul's words might be able to help us as we go throughout this week. So may the Lord bless you and keep you. May his face shine upon you. May you truly be able to work in community this week. Thanks for taking the time and viewing today.